Before we get into the game, I just want to say whatever it takes to get to the final. Whatever you needed to do to win that game, just do it. And that is the important takeaway from the Nations League semifinals. And the United States were able to do that. An 89th minute game winner from Jordan Cibocho. Is that, by the way, is that how we're going to say his name? Because I've heard it so many different ways. And if he's scoring goals for the U.S. men's national team, we need to get it correct. 89th minute goal, coming off the bench for Greg Berhalter to get that goal. And the desired result was accomplished. As to how they got there, well, that's a different story, and we'll get into it. There's a lot of issues to what the U.S. are playing, but we needed to get a final against Mexico, and they were able to do that. This is the Soccer OG, and as you're enjoying this wonderful post-game show, a reminder to subscribe to the channel. There you go. I like to do that. That's the sound it will make when you hit that button. Just go ahead and do it. That's been working lately. I've been seeing the numbers going up, so thank you for the support. I will be in Denver Sunday for the final, so if you're around, drop a note in the comment section. So maybe we can cross paths, say hello. We'll record the YouTube show after the game, as well as the Soccer OG podcast. Check it out. There's one out right now. There'll be a new one on Sunday. Please download and rate and review. We appreciate the support. So let's get to what's going on with the U.S. There's a lot here. There was a lot of... it was an indifferent performance from a team that looked very young and wet behind the ears. And 23 years, 259 days combined age, average age combined. Second youngest U.S. squad in a competitive game in their history. So we got, despite all the games together, you had to expect a bit of a grind. As I said in the last episode, facing a very experienced, savvy, physical Honduras side was going to make it very tricky. But the U.S. found a way through. As to the problems, they'd be a lot harder, they'd be a lot easier to expose if they had lost this game. And you don't want to miss the opportunity to play Mexico in this final. This almost was a third place game, USA and Mexico. Hats off to Honduras and Costa Rica. They proved that they're not here to make up the numbers. They're here to play. They're not to be pushed around, even though they're on the decline talent-wise. A reminder that, it's not easy in CONCACAF. People, the rest of the world don't understand that. So there you have it. So the U.S., I'm a little less convinced about Greg Berhalter today than I was yesterday. It didn't seem like he had those guys locked in. I saw a lot of head shaking, a lot of this, and frustration when Honduras was time wasting with some injuries. They're like, oh, you okay? And it was a bit strange. It was very civil. You need a bit of a mean streak. But that's something you're going to develop, and that's what you want to get from these games. The USA had 65% possession. They had 10 shots, Honduras 7. Both had 4 shots on goal. And this is a bit of a problem. So if you're playing with that much possession, you got to have better opportunities. However, Honduras, with their 35% possession, had better opportunities than the U.S. did. That is an alarm bell right there. That can't happen. So as we move forward here into what the U.S. did well, Gio Reyna was good. I wanted to see the depth of the team, but Greg Berhalter didn't bring anyone into the 78th minute. Christian Pulisic started, went 94 minutes. I would imagine he's going to have to play a big shift again in the final. Zach Steffen had a really bad mistake in the first half. Josh Sargent cleared it off the line, and I said at the time that Josh Sargent should be given credit for a goal because he basically prevented the U.S. from falling down a goal. You can't do that, though. And we'll get to Josh Sargent in a minute. Zach Steffen, meanwhile, after that mistake, was very good, cleared a lot of plays, and made some good hard saves. That one breakaway as well, which obviously wipes the sweat from our brow. John Brooks, fantastic, involved in the goal, setting it to Weston McKennie. And the list kind of ends there. The back line was really a mess. The fullback situation, it feels like it's getting worse than better with the space in behind. The biggest concern for the U.S., and we saw it on that play that Zach Steffen made the save, is when they're pressing and they turn the ball over. It is a jailbreak in the other direction. Cannot have that. It's happening every time they play. I could go on and on. I don't want to nitpick because they got a good result here. I really expected it was going to be a grind, as I said in the last video. So the U.S., Josh Sargent, I think it's the same thing. He had one great opportunity. If it goes in the back of the net, great. But we keep saying that about them. If that went in or that, none of them are going in. And their opponent on Sunday, Mexico, has a similar situation. They're not getting productivity from their number 9. Henry Martin didn't get it done. There's not going to be any Raul Jimenez. USA has Christian Pulisic, which needs a number 9 to combine with. He doesn't have that. That's effective. Chucky Lozano, the biggest star for Mexico, same situation with their number 9. So it needs to be, I don't know if either one to get repairs in that category anytime soon, but you have to make an adjustment. It's too important of a position. A lot of concerns for the U.S., which will get better with the reintroduction of some players like Tyler Adams. When I'm on Twitter and people were looking for players to blame, no surprise, Sebastian Lletget and Jackson Yueill, top of that list. What do they have in common? They are MLS-based players. The perception in American soccer is so annoying and inaccurate. As I said, the way America's perceived in the world, not the way it should be. But within America, when they're talking about the U.S. men's national team, they look at these MLS players as if they are inferior. I was told Jackson Yueill turned the ball over. He completed 88% of his passes. Sebastian Lletget was poor on set pieces, but he was good enough to take the set pieces, and I actually thought he linked the play as well as anybody, which was a low bar this time around. They both weren't very good, but to say they were the problem is absolute folly. It's not the case whatsoever with regards to this team, and they need a fair shake because they're going to be in the 11, so get used to it. Maybe not Jackson Yueill long term, but there's going to be MLS players. And some of these players that aren't MLS players like Zach Steffen, they were MLS players a year ago. So why? I won't get into that. It's very frustrating. So the United States are going to move on to take on Mexico. It's going to be a different game this time around. Mexico will play. It's going to be a fun game to watch. Both of them were in a grind against their opponents in the semifinals. So much will come of this game because it's USA-Mexico. It sets the table for what's coming on. Before I go any further, and I know this is counter to what I've been saying on the Soccer OG repeatedly, is the Nations League doesn't really matter. I know I've been doing fireworks around this tournament, but it's good for now because of the momentum. And that momentum it's serendipity. It leads to this and this. If USA lost to Honduras, momentum goes here. But now we're excited. It's all about building. A year from now or months from now, when they're maybe winning the Gold Cup or qualifying for the World Cup or playing in a World Cup, we won't remember the Nations League. It's a tournament that's kind of made up and put together. It worked well here. I enjoyed it. But it's just about the moment of time and taking advantage of that momentum. But in the big picture, who cares? It's the Nations League. I had friends calling me up. Why are you getting all bent out of shape for the Nations League? I go, I don't know. But we did. The country did. People got excited for it. And it's because we've been starving for it. We needed a taste. Give me some of that. So I'll get to that in a moment. But this USA-Mexico, the pressure is off for the U.S. Although I think they have a really good shot because Mexico is very flawed. They have some of the same issues like the forward, the fullbacks. Gerardo Arteaga started, who I thought was good, but it's like not convincing by any means. The one thing Mexico has that the U.S. doesn't is Hector Herrera, an incredible central midfielder who links the play, and Chucky Lozano, who should have more goals. But I think he's a bit of a push with Christian Pulisic as with regards to your star player. Mexico has Diego Lainez, who I'm starting to see a little bit as fool's gold. I like him a lot, and I can see what they're trying to do with him, but he goes in these runs, and it's fast, and it's quick, and he gets into spaces, and then it falls apart. He's very small, and he gets pushed around. I want to see that from Diego Lainez, not on Sunday. But I think the USA can exploit that on Lainez. I think it's a good matchup for the US. But if they lose it, the big part was just getting into the final and setting this up so we could lick our chops and enjoy the moment. Now they have to, it'd be better to win and get that trophy, and that is huge. But we can at least have a good body of work to look at and say, all right, this is what they did, this is what they haven't done, and now we can move forward to more important things like World Cup qualifying in September. And yes, the Gold Cup, which has its own criticisms. People give it a lot of grief, but it's a good tournament and it's ours. So let's celebrate that. So what am I looking for? I want to see Josh Sargent score. I want to see if we can get another big 90 minutes out of Christian Pulisic. That was a bit of a wear. Got to fix the fullbacks. And clearly Yunus Musa is not a real choice anywhere else than an 8, but maybe he comes in for Leggett. I don't think you change a whole lot, and I think in the big picture, Greg Berhalter is going with this. But I think there's pressure on him. This was a big win for him. This is his biggest win since he's had the U.S. men's national team. But there's pressure starting to mount. They want to see results, and think about the pressure you can take off if you get a victory here. The Soccer OG on the road in Denver. Check us out. Subscribe to the YouTube. More videos like this to get you on the right track so you're informed for all the stuff from the beautiful game. Did I mention the substitution pattern? That was bananas. I think I covered everything. Talk to you soon. Denver, baby.